Right, so friends, welcome back to the Banter Show. And we're here, this is another event in the Quays, at Deli Lights in the Quays in Newry. And it's about the centenary on the loss of the both ships, the Connemara and the Retriever. And it was in 1916, so it's a 100 years anniversary. And we're now joined with John Stewart. John, welcome on to the Banter Show, John.
How are you, Tony?
I'm good, how's yourself?
Oh, not too bad.
Hey John, just for the benefit of our viewers, John, can you tell us about your grandfather? What ship was he on?
Well, strange enough, my great-grandfather, it's actually my great-grandfather, the same name as myself, John Stewart. He was a chief engineer on the Retriever. And quite strangely, for such a disaster, it was never really talked about in the family. I mean, for years, I would have been in my 20s, 30s before I even realised or found out, you know, John Stewart was my great-grandfather, and it was through a family history project that was sort of come across the whole Retriever end of things. By a strange, very quirky fate, I now live in Thomas Street, and discovered when I started looking up the Connemara, it said his funeral left from Bridge Street. But when I researched the 1901 census and 1911 census, it turns out John Stewart, my great-grandfather, lived in Thomas Street in nearly the same spot.
That's unreal.
22, I think it was, and I'm in 22 and he was in 25. So
that's incredible.
Totally freaky.
That is fate, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely amazing that you're back to your roots and didn't know it.
And also, can you tell us about, say, the Mackey family, Ronan?
Aye, well, I know a friend of mine, Ronan Mackey, sitting talking to him one night, and again out of the blue I was talking about the family tree thing, and Ronan had done a bit of work on his own, and he was explaining to me where to look for things and giving me tips on how to do the family tree. And I started to explain him, saying about, you'll never believe it, I found my great-grandfather in the census and he was chief engineer on the Retriever, and Ronan near jumped out of the chair because he said, I don't believe this. He says, I've just found out my great-grandfather was, I don't know his first name, Mr. Tummeldy, and he was a chief fireman or something on Retriever as well.
Incredible, isn't it?
Absolutely incredible that you know someone, you meet someone, they're a friend of yours maybe for years, and you have that in common and you just never realised the huge tragedy behind us all. Like.
It's unbelievable.
Fantastic story. Like, but
it is, and it's great to get it out
it's
there.
Great, and it's really great that James and the boys have done such fantastic work, you know, to bring back alive the story of these people.
Indeed.
And what happened.
And it was due to the war going on in 1916, the Somme, everything was on. So
the background to it is a world war and Easter rising in Dublin and all, and unrest in Ireland. Just unbelievable that this human tragedy.
A human tragedy due to lack of communication.
Well, I suppose.
You know, they hadn't got the communication
in these
methods.
days of health and safety and all the rest of it, there was no such thing. I suppose it was just accepted as a way of life then.
Yeah.
As
well, again, John,
Tony,
incredible story,
much.
John. Thanks for sharing it with us here in the Banter Show. Much appreciated, John.
Not a bad. Thanks very much.
Welcome back, friends. We're now joined with Mrs. Catherine White and Kathleen O'Hare. Catherine, that was a great event tonight, wasn't it?
It was very good. Don't know how they minded it all.
To keep it going,
keep it going,
yes.
Never stop for a breath or nothing.
No, because they're very passionate about it, I have to say.
Yes,
you know, the Maritime Association.
Yes.
And indeed, it was great to be with the Old Newry guys tonight as well.
Yes.
So can you tell us your connection with us?
Well, it was a granduncle of ours, Edward Mullen.
And where was he from?
Well, he had an address in Castle Street. But
wow.
he would have been originally from Cranchigo.
Oh, very good. And it was it's a serious big tragedy, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah.
It's an awful
and
tragedy.
It's only when you hear Mrs. McEltown, do you call him, talking about the injuries they would have received before they died and everything and all.
Yeah,
it's her reason.
Michael, he described it very graphically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and many times did you burn your hand? You know, we're doing it, and it is agony. Now, you can imagine what them people went through. It's just awful, isn't it?
Yes.
And as Michael said, that they were actually cooked in their clothes.
They were cooked in their clothes before they died. And then the salt water and all to get into the wounds.
The ice cold.
Ice cold.
Well, you see, our grandfather was supposed to go on it, and he wasn't able to go, and his brother Edward took his place. That's what happened.
Right.
Well,
And
my goodness. And I suppose then your grandfather was probably feeling bad then after that long time.
Probably did.
Probably did.
Yes.
It's amazing the way things happen, isn't it?
You know, we wouldn't mind all them things.
No, we know nothing
No.
about them.
No,
Too long ago.
no. It's only two young ladies like this.
Oh, yes.
You know, you have just found out about it then, yeah.
Yeah, that's all, yeah. Well, my father always talked about it. I always heard him talking about it, like,
that
you
right?
know. Oh, yes.
And it's, like, I suppose even your father was kind of shocked back in the day, you know.
Well, I think my father would only have been about 5 maybe when it happened. You know, like, my father was born in 1911, you know, so
Right.
work that out.
Yes.
I don't want to. I don't want to work it out. There's enough about years said here, isn't there? Well, ladies, thanks, Catherine. Thanks for talking to us. Absolutely, lady,
Short
and you
and
too.
sweet.
Short and sweet. Well, thanks very
That's
much.
the way we like it.
That's the way they like it. Short and sweet.
Thank you.
You heard it from me in here and the two girls.
Yeah.
Raise our friends. We're out of here for the time being. Welcome back, friends. We're joined with the lovely Liz McGinn. Liz, how you doing?
Grand, thank you.
Now, as you know, we're at this event here tonight because of this disaster that happened 100 years ago. What's your connection with it?
Great grandfather, Kern from Retriever, was lost on the Retriever.
Right. Was that the man he had the button, hadn't he?
Yes.
That was the man found with the button.
Yes.
Right.
It was actually his. I don't know, it was his mother now. I'm not sure, or grandma, who had actually sewn the button on
Was he
for him
before he left?
Before
for
he
Strathern?
left.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
You'd be related to Dermot McQuaid, would you?
Uh,
The McQuaids?
Probably the McQuaids are
Because-
connected, but it'd be far out with
Yeah.
me, you know.
Yeah.
The Coles and Retriever
Yeah.
and the Kerns
Yeah.
in Retriever would be a bit further out than with my aunt there, you know.
Yeah.
But knew them all, the families now, would know them better, you know.
Absolutely shocking, wasn't
But
it?
horrific.
Horrific.
And when I've heard the talk tonight now, it's brought it home even more in depth, you know.
I know, because when you hear the graphic, the description,
Oh,
you can
women
feel it
and
in your heart,
children
can't
and
you?
everybody, oh God.
It was
It
desperate.
felt like
wasn't
it was happening as he was speaking.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of a feeling. It was
Yeah.
horrific.
Yeah.
You know, desperate.
Well, listen, thank you so much
Thank you very much indeed.
for talking to us here on the
Thank
Banter
you.
Show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back, friends, and we're now joined with the lovely Leslie and the lovely Jean, and we're here at this event again for the Connemara and the Retriever.
Well, we're here because our grandfather was on the Connemara. He was visiting his parents in Blackwater Town, and he was on his way back to his wife and two very small children who were in Liverpool, and he never made it.
Very good. And that must have been hard times on the wife and family. And,
Very, very.
Doesn't bear thinking about, does
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Well,
And, especially when we heard about, somebody brought up compensation tonight. And the families weren't compensated too much, you know.
not at all, not at all. I don't imagine our grandmother got anything, but she was his work colleagues, because he worked in the civil service there, gathered together some money for her and the children, but that's probably all she got.
Awful, isn't it?
Shocking, yeah.
Shocking times back then,
Yeah,
weren't
yeah,
they really?
yeah,
And yeah, it's hard to imagine the hardship of the rest of the families that were left behind too, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
And then she was able to retrain and get work, go and work herself, but not all of them could have done that. You know, some of the ones who lost the breadwinner, they would have been in an awful state, really.
Probably left destitute or something.
I
at
would
that
think
stage.
some of them were, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, we were talking to you ladies down at Derry Oak, and you're back here tonight. It's great to see the like she's coming back, and you know, I suppose you've been hooked in by it too, have you?
Well, we never really knew that much about it growing up. We knew there was a disaster. We knew there were two ships. We knew one was a coal ship, and we knew one person survived. But we didn't know why it happened, how it happened, how many people were lost. We didn't know any of those things. And over this programme, we've learnt all about it, what happened, how it happened, and how many people, and much, much more, and met some of the relatives, which, to me anyway, that was really a very nice thing to find out.
Yeah,
that there were
yeah.
other people around still who were in the same situation as we are.
Yeah, especially as you say, when you didn't really know the full
No.
extent, and I suppose even you're getting to meet, you know, people who have been affected by this too.
Yeah.
And it's poignant, isn't it? Very poignant.
It is. I mean, it was very much sort of part of our story growing up, but just the few facts. And it was obviously crucial to my mother's growing up, that she grew up with just her mother and very little money. And I mean, it was a sort of a sadness in her entire life growing up. And we knew about it, but we didn't really know very much about it.
Well, now you know, and as I
the
say,
same-
you can pass it on too now, you know.
The same as people were saying earlier, nobody talked about it. They never spoken about it. I mean, nobody spoke about it to us. Our mother knew very little,
Unbelievable.
you know, because her mother never spoke about it and her family never spoke about it.
Simply unbelievable. But again, thanks for turning up this event and making it that bit more special because of the, you know, of the relative aspect of it. So thanks
you.
again.
Thank you very much.
No doubt we'll get talking to you again. There you go. Ladies, thanks very much. Greatly appreciated. Welcome back, friends. We're now joined with our good friend, Oney MacDonald. How you doing, Oney?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
And we're with the one and only Eddie Quinn. How you doing, Eddie?
Going well, boy.
You're going well, boy. You heard it live here. And we've got Tom Moore.
Another
How you-
good friend.
How you doing, Tom?
Yeah, best.
good.
Thank you very much, Tony. Yes.
Now, lads, there's a lot of connections with this disaster. Look, we'll start with you, Oney. A lot of connections to everybody who's here tonight with this big disaster.
Yes.
You were a seafaring man yourself
I was indeed, yes. 12 years on the ship, on the boats.
on the boats.
Yes.
And and I know this happened like 100 years ago, but were you based out in Newry here as well?
Newry for 3 years, yeah.
3 years.
Then Kelly's in Belfast for another 3 years.
Wow.
Then I went on the deep water boats out of Liverpool, going to Australia and different places, New Zealand,
Wow.
west coast of America,
Very good.
and that was it.
That's unbelievable. That was it. Yeah, just
and
I
I
sailed around
finished-
the world a couple of times. That was it.
And I finished up with one of the gardener's boats at Glasgow,
Wow.
on the coasting boat too, yeah.
And then you come back to
Back to farming and
back
farming.
to farming. Aye, that's we are happiest, isn't it?
Oh well,
Well,
yeah.
that's done right.
Eddie Quinn, how are you keeping?
Going well, thank God.
Going
thank
well,
you.
thank God. So, Eddie, what's your connection with all this?
Well, my brother was a sailor, but I never want to say. I'll tell you a story about me going to sea, if you want to hear it.
Yes.
It was in summertime. I was just only about 21. It was in April. And I went down, and Mr. Thorne says, yes, there's a job on one of the boats. I don't know, your man, Malin, was the engineer, chief. So I went down anyway, and I had me. Philly left me a bag for the, if I ever wanted to go to sea, a sailor's bag. A really good sailor's bag with a bottom on it. You only would know it.
White bag,
Good.
With a drawstring on the top, was
That's right, the dust.
it? There you go.
And a good bottom in it now. So I put those in now over to Willie Henderson, got me what they call the stores, and anyway. And the whole lot, I had a half a crown left. That's right, I would tell the truth. But anyway, I went aboard anyway, and who comes along? Your man was chapping up one of those handlings. What do you call it? What do you call those handlings that was chapping up one of the boats? Matt, I think it was Matt handling. And he went on the far side laughing and sneering. Never had only seen me. But anyway, your man, the engineer, come on. He says, where are you going? I say, I'm going. He says, I hear there's a job firing. I says, I'm going. Mr. Torrance told me there was a firing job. And did you ever go to sea before? No. What's the say, sure? Oh, and Fathom was sailor, so my brothers were sailor. Oh, that's all right, he says. So you never went to sea before? No. I had a fire on myself before I take you, he says. Get out.
Tom Moore, tell us about the Old Newry Society then.
Right. Well, the Old Newry Society is there to try and ensure that people of Newry know its history, and we always try and have real people telling real stories, and that's why tonight was very special.
Yes.
Because in this centenary year of all sorts of centenaries, we were delighted to have the opportunity of talking about our own centenary of the tragedy in Carnforth Lough.
Yeah, and it's quite a shocking story, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
You know,
Yes.
and,
Yeah.
now I've often heard about it as myself, but before this all started, before the Newry Maritime started this, but I never knew to the extent of how bad it really was.
Yeah.
I was shocked myself,
Yeah.
when I first learned about it.
Yeah, now, unfortunately, I would have known about it since I was a child, because it was often talked about in our house, particularly on the 3rd of November, because my grandfather, he worked for the company that owned the Retriever.
Wow.
And he was at the salvaging, they were trying to salvage as much as they could, and he actually got this porthole from the Retriever for his work with them. So, in fact, in my family history, it was talked about every year.
My goodness, it was just so you kept it alive,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
And now the Maritime Association
Well,
on the
it's-
Banter show, we're keeping it
Exactly.
right up to date.
Well, it's great that the Maritime Association have done this because,
Yeah.
as it was
Absolutely.
it was Michael himself said tonight that so few people actually knew about it.
Indeed.
And it is, it's hard to believe, and yet it's a fact. So
Yeah,
thankfully,
it's
they're
a tragedy of such a large scale.
exactly,
It's
yeah,
just
exactly.
hard to
yeah.
take on board. Isn't
Well,
it?
I think as the Maritime Association said itself, the unfortunate thing, I suppose, in one sense, was it came in the very middle of World War One. So there were so many things happening internationally that maybe people just let it go by. But thankfully, it's been resurrected, and hopefully the memorials that they have set up will keep it alive in people's minds.
And the footage that we have cut, it's going to be on the internet and it's there forever.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
there.
yeah.
You
And
can find it.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what makes the Old Newry Society's job much easier. The fact that all these other things are happening, and we can then come in and just get a speaker to talk about it and bring it to a bigger number of people.
Brilliant work. Well, Tom, thanks for talking to us here on the Banter Show. Thank you very much. We're going to be joined with James McAreevy very shortly and Michael O'Hare. So, friends, we'll be back soon. Welcome back, friends. And it's we're joined with James McAreevy, Newry Maritime. Yet again, James, a really good event.
It went very well tonight, Tony, and great to see yourself and Mickey coming along to put this video record together. You've been with us since the launch on the 11th of June, and it's hard to believe that we're coming onto the home straight, that the project is coming to a conclusion now.
Isn't it?
On the 3rd of November.
It seems to went very fast, James, didn't it?
It went very fast,
Yeah.
and a lot of work has been done, a lot of good work has been done. This is our 13th event out of a series of 15. This is the 13th one tonight. We have another one at St Patrick's Church on Sunday, and one in Warren Point on Monday for the sole survivor, James Boyle. And after that, we have the actual centennial events on Thursday the 3rd. We'll have a plaque unveiling at River Street for the crew of the Retriever. We have a bespoke memorial getting unveiled at Dublin Bridge for all the victims, and in a very poignant ceremony on the evening of Thursday the 3rd at 8:30, the time of the tragedy, church bells will be tolled from Cooley right up to Newry and down the County Down side of the loch to Grange.
Oh, that's a nice poignant feature, James.
And a very powerful reminder to the community of what happened at that time 100 years ago.
And the entire community around Carlingford Loch, basically.
That's right,
The
yeah.
whole loch,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's why it's important, Tony, that we have a record like you and Mickey are doing at the minute, to chart the course of this project. And when we're finished, the legacy is that we'll have a necklace heritage trail which will run from Kilkeel right up the coast through Rostrevor, Warren Point, Newry, out to South Armagh and down to the Cooley Peninsula.
Fantastic.
It'll be there, and then we hope next year to develop that with possibly an interactive guide and certainly a print guide and a map that people will be able to follow the Connemara and Retriever Heritage Trail and learn about the story about what happened.
That's brilliant, James. I think that's great, especially for the youth of today who are out driving and they can actually drive to all them sites.
That's right, yeah.
That's terrific.
And the whole of Carlingford Loch will be involved because we were very selective in the sites that we chose and the individuals that are mentioned,
Yeah.
all very, very sad, as Michael said. 95 tragedies, really, and we tried to identify with ones that stood out and related to a particular area, like the Kearneys in Dramilly, where their father was principal of the school, like Cooley, where the cattlemen, 3 cattlemen we commemorated, like young Edwin Wrighton Carter, the youngest soldier out of 14, 17 years and 7 months. So, particular relevance, site specific, and as I say, everywhere we went, I have to say, Tony, we were very, very well received by the communities,
Indeed you were.
by the communities that we visited, and we met some lovely people and some people who give us a really tremendous hand, you know.
Yeah.
And that helps to make it worthwhile.
Well, it certainly is worthwhile, James, and keep up the great work from us here at the Banter Show.
Thank you, Tony,
Keep up the great
because
work.
you lads have played a very constructive role from day one, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks very much, James. That's what we're here for.
No bother, Tony.
Thank you, James. Michael O'Hare, the legend, the man himself. Here he is, Michael.
I wouldn't go so far as that now.
Well, we would, us guys in the Banter Show. No, we've always had the banter, Michael. All these events now, we've had their own bit of banter too.
Yes, and you know, tonight is another poignant night in that as well, because it was lovely to see the number of people here tonight. But as I said, like, you know, if when we started this project, it was to bring forward, you know, this tragedy, which has simply been forgotten. But I've said this so many times before, but you know, the heritage trail really that we have set out now, you know, when all of us old guys all fall off the perch, you know, we hope that young people will be encouraged when they see these plaques and that, and which are all relevant to the locations that they're in, as James has said, you know, that people will want to know more.
Yeah.
And that will keep, you know, the memory of the souls who perished that night alive. You know, a person is only dead when they are forgotten. So, you know, these souls that perished on that terrible night, they have been forgotten.
Yeah.
But now they're not. Now they are alive again.
Their memories are kept
Their
alive.
memories
aren't
are
they?
kept alive again, and we hope now, because of the work that we have done in highlighting this tragedy, then that will continue.
Well, you've certainly done that. Michael. Another thing, while you guys are just after the event, tonight's event now, we were talking to several people who knew that they've only known about there was a crash out in the loch, but the way you described it, your graphic description, has certainly embedded this disaster into their minds. You know.
Well, yes, because, you know, when we read about an accident or a tragedy or that, you know, the media sort of, you know, people, the focus, 6 dead,
Yeah.
you know, and 250 injured. But the one thing that sticks in people's mind are the 6 dead. Well, the 6 dead, they're dead.
Yeah.
But the 250 injured, you know, have to live with that the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And, you know, this tragedy, you know, there was only one survivor from it. And that man had to be tortured all his life.
All his life, literally.
You know, because, you know, he listened to the people dying that night. You know, and that in itself. But this is the human side of tragedies,
Yeah.
when, you know, that is so easily glossed over in newsprint, you know, or on TV or whatever. But when you really get down into the nitty-gritties of the thing, you know, that they are horrific stories, they really are.
And due to the lack of communication as well, they hadn't got the equipment.
Oh, absolutely not.
And as you say about Mr. Boyle, I mean, there was no counselling back in them days. You know the way you can get counselling for this and counselling for that? There was nobody there to counsel that.
Well, you know, sometimes I do wonder, you know, if counselling does more harm than good.
Indeed.
You know,
Yeah.
but, you know, the professionals would certainly give me an argument for that one. But, you know, sometimes you do wonder, like, whenever we as children growing up and that, you know, when something happened,
Yeah.
you picked yourself up and got on with
Yeah.
it, you know. But sometimes by highlighting it more and more and more, you don't allow the memory to heal. You keep picking the sore,
Yeah.
and sometimes that can,
And keeps it raw then,
it
doesn't
keeps it raw rather than sort of calm it down in that, you know.
Well, I have to say, Michael, thanks for sharing your knowledge with us tonight. Because the way this man speaks, his friends, it's fantastic. There's nothing short of fantastic, James, isn't it? His knowledge, your knowledge, and the way you can describe it. I mean, That's what puts it into the people.
Well, that is what, you know, that is what it was like.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, and you know, it doesn't really take too much imagination. When you light the fire, then people's own imagination then can start to see situations as they happen.
But due to your knowledge, Michael, and what you know about, and you're passing it on to us too. So that's, you know, we're getting the graphic end of it.
Well, yes, exactly, and I think that, you know, memories will always stick in your mind better.
Yeah.
If there is, you know, something that you can relate to in a graphic way.
Yeah.
You know, rather than sort of just the spoken word or the written word. You know.
Yeah.
If you have a mental picture in your head,
you'll get it.
You will remember.
You will, because we've all got it, Michael.
Yes.
Michael, thank you very much for talking to us yet again.
And thank you again for all of your work.
You're very welcome, sir, and you keep up the great work.
You do great work.
There you go, the chairman of Newry Maritime Association, the one and only Michael O'Hare, legend and a gentleman. James, that concludes tonight's event.
That's only one thing to be done now, Tony.
That's why I said it. You know what the crack is?
Razor.
We're out of here, friends. We're out of here.